It was supposed to be just another night in American television history. The airwaves were packed with talent shows, morning segments, breaking news flashes, and talk show monologues. But across the decades, the glow of millions of TV screens captured not just entertainment, but tragedy. Tragedy that unfolded live, raw, and irreversible. Some moments shook the nation, others broke families, and a few changed the course of human lives forever. In this story, we journey through 34 unforgettable tragedies, not just as cold facts, but through the eyes of the people who lived them. 1. The fall of a legend. Owen Hart's final dive, 1999. The packed Kansas City arena was electric with cheers as Owen Hart, a beloved wrestler, was set to make a dramatic entrance from the rafters. But then a hush, a slip, a scream, and a body crashing into the ring. Millions watched live as the screen quickly cut away. Behind the curtains, medics scrambled. His wife, Martha, stood frozen, thousands of miles away watching the TV, unable to scream. That night, a family lost a father, a wife lost a husband, and the nation lost a hero, too. Christine Chubbuck's last broadcast, 1974. The morning news in Sarasota, Florida, was meant to cover routine stories. But that day, Christine Chubbuck, a local anchor battling hidden depression, looked into the camera and delivered her final message. Her silent pain had gone unnoticed, and live on air, she took her own life. That clip was never aired again, but her story sparked the first conversations around mental health and media pressure. 3. Challenger explosion, 1986. Classrooms across America had tuned in to watch Krista McAuliffe, a teacher among astronauts, make history. Children cheered, teachers wept tears of pride. Then came the smoke, confusion, silence. The explosion unfolded in real time. The shuttle never made it. 7 lives were lost. In New Hampshire, Krista's students clung to each other, asking why. The answer didn't come easy, but her legacy lived on in every student who still dared to reach for the stars. 4. The Virginia reporter shooting, 2015. Allison Parker and Adam Ward were doing a cheerful morning segment in Virginia. The camera caught them smiling, unaware of the horror to come. A disgruntled ex-employee opened fire live. Viewers watched, stunned. Families were paralyzed. The world gasped. But out of tragedy came reform. Viewers, once numbed, began to talk seriously about workplace safety and gun violence. Cut to stories 5-20, each unfolding live on screen. Some shocking, some deeply personal. A news anchor suffering a heart attack mid-broadcast. A weather reporter covering a flood swept away by the current. A live hostage rescue gone wrong. Through these stories, we meet the people behind the lens, their families, their struggles, the silent battles they fought off camera. 21. The day the towers fell, 9/11/2001. The camera panned to the New York skyline, smoke, flames. Then a second plane. The world watched in horror in real time as both towers fell. Among the footage, one clip showed a fireman helping people out, calmly directing them. That man, James Kiefer, never made it out. His wife, Anna, pregnant with their first child, watched the rerun in disbelief, then collapsed. Today, that child, Emma, speaks at schools about hope, unity, and resilience. 22. The flooded interview, 2007, in Jakarta. A young girl named Ayesha stood ankle deep in floodwater during a live TV interview. She was 10, barefoot, clutching a soaked teddy bear. The camera panned across her broken home behind her. Her quiet sentence, "We lost our kitchen, but not our hope," became a viral moment of strength in the face of loss. Months later, a charity rebuilt their home. Ayesha is now an engineer working on flood defense systems. 23. Live earthquake coverage in Japan, 2011. A Tokyo morning show quickly shifted tone when the set began to shake. Cameras stayed on as lights swayed, hosts ducked, and the sound of breaking glass echoed. A tsunami followed. But what made the moment unforgettable was a shot of two anchors holding each other's hands under the desk, whispering calming words to viewers, even as they feared for their own lives. They became symbols of composure and compassion. 24:30. Pain in plain sight. These segments include moments like a child running on stage during a disaster update, unaware his father had just been declared missing, a contestant collapsing on a live talent show stage, a politician fainting mid-speech, a war reporter captured mid-broadcast. Each of these was more than just a moment. It was a turning point in the lives of those involved. 31. The Burning Reporter, Armenia, 2019. Reporter Anahit Sargsyan stood at the edge of a protest where Molotovs were thrown. One ignited. Her coat caught fire on live TV. Instead of running, she warned the crew to back off and shielded her mic to save equipment. She was hospitalized, scarred, but survived. When asked why she didn't run, she simply said, "I was trained to protect the truth." 32. The slap that changed a career, the Oscars 2022. It started as a joke, a misstep. A man walked up the stage and slapped a comedian on live television. The internet exploded, but what people didn't see was the backstage apology, the late night phone calls, the therapy, the tearful talk shows. That one moment cost a man his image, but gave rise to a greater dialogue about emotional boundaries, ego, and healing. 33. The Ukrainian hostage interview 2022. A live TV interview in Kiev turned deadly when a guest pulled out a grenade, holding the crew hostage. Viewers watched the anchor stay calm, negotiating for their lives. It ended with no deaths, but deep trauma. That anchor, Marina, left TV afterward, but she founded a mental health center for journalists in war zones. It now helps thousands across Eastern Europe. 34. The Earth Stood Still, George Floyd's live plea 2020, not broadcast through traditional news, but through live stream. The world watched a man plead for his life. "I can't breathe." Those words echoed across the globe. The clip sparked a movement, protests, change, but also heartbreak. A young girl named Amaya, only 6, whispered to her mom, "Why didn't anyone help him?" Her question turned into a classroom campaign on compassion. She spoke at her school's Black History Month program the next year, becoming a voice for her generation. Epilogue: the screens fade, but the stories stay. These tragedies were not just televised moments. They were real people, real pain, and real turning points in history. From newsrooms to living rooms, from stadiums to city streets, they were captured not for ratings, but because they were life, unfiltered. In every one of these 34 tragedies, behind every shocking frame and tear-filled silence, someone found purpose. Someone stood up, someone turned sorrow into service, and someone, somewhere, watching on the other side of the screen, realized they weren't alone in their grief. Because sometimes, the most unforgettable moments aren't scripted, but caught in real time. And sometimes, tragedy caught on screen becomes the very thing that changes the world.